everybody. Welcome to Travel Chat. Thank you to McGuire's on Tires for their awesome raid. I know Kerri's going to come up in just a minute. I see you down there in the basement. Hello, friend. How are you? My name is Charlie Grace. I'm with Forever Best Friend, and I have with me my wonderful furry co-host, Miss Rosie Bell Dog. She's hanging out on the bench with me tonight, so you'll know what's going on down here. You can't see her in camera. Tonight's awesome topic for all our friends. We're going to talk about family camping. And as someone said the other day, it's like the gateway drug to becoming adult digital nomads. We're going to talk about this and see exactly what they meant. But we've got some experts who go camping with their families. But right now, let's see who's in the chat and see what's going on here. We have Boondocking with Boomer. I'm first. You're the first here. Thank you so much, Dream on Wheels. Hey, hey, hey. Dream on Wheels just sent me an amazing video. If you guys want to know the story, come see us on Happy Yappy Hour with Friends on Thursday. We have a hula hoop competition going on. You don't want to miss that one. It's going to be fun. Okay, Amethyst Hayes Adventures, good to see you. Oh my gosh, there's Fat Matt from Texas. Oh yeah, we're bringing Texas in the house tonight. It's going to be fun. Outdoor Adventures with Ron. Here we go. It's about time now. Ready for McGuire Monday. Thank you so much. There's Doreen. Hey, good to see you, by the way. And we love your vintage camper videos. They're just pretty awesome. Really, really neat. And there's Call Me V, my other awesome Canadian friend. You guys are having so much fun. It's good to have friends to come over and say hey. So do me a favor real quick. And if you guys can give us a shout out, give us a share. Share it out. Let other people know what's going on. We always appreciate that. And also give us a thumbs up. And if you want to do two, you can do two. You can do two thumbs up. Why not? Have some fun with that. So let me get back here real quick. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. Nursing Our Travel Bug is here. Thank you so much. Oh, look, there's Kenneth. Good to see you for, man. Uh-oh, and Mobang's like, rough. All right, we are so there. All right, guys, we're going to get into it tonight. Us and more. Thanks for joining, guys. Can't tag in the phone, but listening in. We know what that's like. And you know what? According to our analytics, which a lot of people look at their analytics, a lot of our viewers are on their phone. So I totally get it. And we're feeling the love. So everybody knows you're here, which is always nice. So as I said earlier, tonight our topic is going to be about family camping. So let's talk about this just a little bit, because one of the topics we think about, we get this idealistic view, mom and dad by the campfire making s'mores, and the kids having a great time and things are happening. But the reality is not always like that. And depending on the parent, sometimes it's a little more work. It's not a vacation per se. There's a lot to do. So I'm going to bring up our first guest, and I'm going to have her introduce herself, because I'm going to bring up Dr. McGuire. Dr. McGuire, are you ready? Oh, yeah. Okay, here she comes.
Hey
there. Hello, Dr. McGuire. How are you?
Good to see you. You can call me Kerri for purposes of our conversation tonight.
Okay, fine. All right, I will go with Kerri. So informal. What can I say?
I know.
So first off, thanks for coming. We really appreciate you being a guest.
Thank you for having me. This is fun.
This is always fun. I love this. So let's talk about this. I mean, most people are coming from your channel, so they know who you are. But for those people who have never heard of you, Kerri McGuire, what's going on in your world?
So our channel is McGuire's on Tires, and we kind of refer to ourselves as anytimers. I'm married to Scott, and we have two daughters, Chloe and Sophie, and we really just look for any opportunity we can to travel. We do have a home base in the Southeast, and we travel from there as much as we can. Summers, of course, are busier because my husband's a teacher. He's off for the summer, and I take vacation, and we try to take off. But otherwise, it's long weekends or just short weekends whenever we can go out and travel as a family. The whole goal is for us to spend time with our girls while they're still living at home with us, currently ages 13 and 9. So we're trying to capitalize on that time that that's a good picture. Thank you for sharing that one. That's a good one. And so we're just trying to capitalize on that time together and make those adventures educational or just fun, keep our bodies moving, disconnect from technology, and all those things that we have as goals kind of factor into the decisions we make when we travel.
Nice. Yeah. And I will say, traveling as a family, you talk about there's only so much time you have to do things. And you have two girls. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting traveling with girls versus boys. But do you find there to be any special things that the girls really want to do when you go camping?
Well, so I find that one of the things that we've tried to create with our family, both in our home where we, a brick and mortar home where we live, but also the home that we have on wheels that takes us places, is that we really want to have balance. And so I find that our girls crave that. And what that means for them is that we really see that they want to have downtime, paired with adventure or learning. And they really are such good sports. Sometimes we're like, hey, here's this random place we're going to go that we didn't know existed until a month ago when we booked this campground and we decided to go travel to this area. And they just kind of roll with it and they go with us where we're going, and they're open to those new adventures and have open minds. And but I find that if we go too much, they tire just like we do, and they really want that calm downtime. So
Right.
I think that balance is such a big part of what we do. And I think part of our balance is that we create balance by not staying at home all the time too. You know, I think it's a good ebb and flow between travel and being at home for us.
I think that's awesome. And there's lots of stuff to talk about. I don't
Mhm.
want to say I've got two different families with two different ways of looking at this. I'm going to bring up our next guest if you don't mind. I'm going to put you down.
Absolutely.
I'm going to bring you right back up. But hold on a
Okay.
second. Let me bring up. We have a Texan. I love my Texas family right here. Dave's going to come up from Texas Family Camping. Hey, Dave.
Hello. Hi, Charlie Grace.
Thanks for coming. This is so exciting. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Dave, and my wife is Tanya, and we've got our two girls, Kaylin and Kira. And Tanya and I both kind of grew up loving camping. We did it on our own before we even got married, and then after we got married, we did kind of sporadic camping. And then as time went on, and our girls were getting a little bit older, we're like, man, we need to get into camping. Um, you know what? I'll save some of this for later. However, we just kept camping more and more and more to the point where it was getting really hard on my back to set up and tear down a tent every weekend.
Right.
So we went ahead and got one of those metal tents with the wheels underneath of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's been really handy for me. I really appreciate that. And it just kept accelerating to the point where we didn't even want to be in the house anymore. So yeah, we are taking a whole new aspect here real soon where we will be camping all the time.
Wow. And that's exciting. That's really exciting. It's a different feel. I know a lot of people, when they start camping and they're in fresh air and then they come back to their house, it's a different feel as well. So
Yeah.
it's hard to describe until you experience it like that. But I used to work at a school where they had outdoor learning, and they spent a whole week outdoor learning without being inside, and it changes how you interact and what you do. So it's really cool, really neat.
You know,
So
a lot of people, they criticize you're going to stay in that tiny little metal box. And I'm like, no, I'm going to set a chair outside of it and go sit there and work or play with it. You know, the living room has opened up into this great big outdoors.
okay, I've got a question real quick. I'm going to bring Miss Kerri back up here for 2 seconds. Here we go. Hey there, friend. All right. We've got some questions real quick, and I want to bring these up because this is good before I ask mine. Angie wants to know, do you find downtime in the RV with kids better or worse with kids for you personally?
We actually kind of plan our downtime, and we also, for any traveling that we've ever done since our girls were little, we've always tried to hang our hats a little bit on being flexible. And what that means is kind of read the room. And if you feel like your kids are not up to that thing you had planned today, or if
Right.
you're in the midst of executing a plan to go hiking and all of a sudden that hike needs to just be shortened, it's okay to turn back and spend that downtime in the RV. So I do think that it's not better or worse if you can just plan it right and you're sort of deliberate and intentional about when you insert that into your weekend or your week or your month away or whatever. For us, that is, since we're not full-time in our RV.
And Dave, what do you think?
I think that downtime, well, the first thing that came to my mind was the rainy day when you're trapped in the RV and you can't get out. And that really can depend on how the day has gone, honestly. I happen to be the only male in the RV, so sometimes emotions can swing wildly. I have to keep myself in check. So we're still in a pretty small RV too. So I would say when it's a rainy day, we tend to all just kind of stick to the digital devices inside. We've tried playing board games a few times, and that's worked. So
All
we've
right,
still got
Dave,
some area of opportunity.
let's
Yeah,
talk
I know
about
them.
let's talk about those two cuties right there. All right. Where are we and what are they doing?
This is Pedernales Falls State Park,
Okay.
and it's a bunch of exposed rock that when it floods in the Texas Hill Country, all of that's underwater, but it doesn't flood all the time. And so it exposes all these awesome rocks to climb on and find all the water going through all the little nooks and crannies like you see behind them.
So how did you, and this is a good example. So a lot of parents like, oh, I can't get my kids away from their devices. How did you get them out of the RV, out of the tent to go on a hike or go look at items like this? How do you entice them?
Well, I usually try to show them something like this, like, does this look cool to you? And ahead of time, I will use digital media to show them stuff. Like, does this interest you? And usually try to go somewhere that it does interest them. If there's someplace with nothing that they care about, I'm going to have a uphill battle. The second thing is, the taller one, she's got headphones on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned and heard from other families, it's not wise to constantly harp on that. Give and take a little bit on those things, because if you're hardcore about no digital devices, it's going to turn into a resentment, and then it's not going to be nearly as fun. So I allowed her to have the headphones that day, and we went out there and had some fun.
It's really cool. All right, Kerri, I got a question here from Solex. He says, do you try to include children with the interests of nature to make the experience more enjoyable for both the parents and the kids?
Yes, absolutely. Just like what Dave just described, we try to let our kids know what to expect when we're going to go out into nature. Is it that we're chasing waterfalls that day and we're about to go see 5 different waterfalls that are going to look different, and one of them has a hiking trail that's going to take us 30 minutes to get to it? We just try to lay that foundation ahead of time so that there aren't any surprises, to the extent that we can know that. You can't always know every detail, but we just don't want to catch them off guard. I will say that we're blessed in that our kids really do enjoy going out. I can't think of a single time that we've gotten grief from them about, oh, you want to go hiking again? We go hiking a lot, and we have never, there are days where maybe we're more tired than others, and we know, okay, let's be flexible and let's choose the shorter trail today or whatever. But generally they have decent attitudes about it. And we do try to include them in that nature. We try to help them understand why that nature matters. When we're looking at water, what do we know about water? What do we understand about the water cycle on Earth? What do we understand about what happens if we don't conserve water? What does that look like in our home? What does it look like in our home on wheels when we're traveling? So we try to make some connections for them to things that they're either learning at school or that are just of interest to them at their ages.
So this is interesting. If you guys are in the chat, and if you guys were campers as kids, I'm curious to know this, because we've been talking about this a little bit. So if you were a camper as a kid, just type in camper in the chat so we know, that you had that experience. I'll be the first to admit, I did not. I did not grow up camping. Camping to my mother was like life without a curling iron. I had one of those mothers, and my dad was outdoorsy. He did Boy Scouts, and he did all sorts of really cool things, but I didn't really get that. That wasn't where I was being steered towards. So in a lot of ways, I wish I did. It would have been really cool. It wasn't until high school that I had an experience of actually being a camp counselor at another state, and being like in a little lodge and having my own little campers and things like that I completely fell in love with it. And my mother swore up and down I was going to own my own campground and be some outdoor environmentalist, something, who knows what. And the joke is, all of my kids, I have one who's a camp counselor, and I was like, oh no, here's my opportunity. It's coming. I can feel it. So we got a lot of people who were campers as kids. This is great. This is good to know. So like Fat Matt, Fat Matt and Bernie and New Horizons and Ron Sees America, Dream on Wheels. See, this is interesting because you guys, you've taken your kids too. Here we go. Camping Therapy, Camper Maintenance Guy, Angie Hay, Call Me V. See, that's really cool. I wish I would have had this. I really do. My kids, by the time I really got to the point where we were doing a lot of camping, my kids are, were teens. So it's a little different. Okay. I'm going to pick on you, Kerri, on this picture, because I want to know the backstory behind this real quick. And then I get to pick on Dave. Hold on.
Okay, awesome.
Here we go. Tell me a little about, how long ago was this?
Oh, let me see. When was that?
Ooh, 2 years ago?
I can tell you that was in the height of the COVID lockdown, because I can look at Scott's hair and tell you that he had not had a haircut in a very long time. This must have been early last summer. Must have been one of our very first trips when we purchased the RV that we have now. So probably late June to early July.
And COVID hair and camping hair goes hand in hand.
Absolutely, it does. Yes.
Yeah. You can never have enough hats, baseball hats, regular hats, any kind of hat. It's the way to go. Total fashion thing. I love this. So you have an interesting camper. Let's talk about that from one, and then I'm gonna jump over to Dave's.
Okay.
We can always find your camper. Anytime we go somewhere, it's sort of something we can find. Some people, might have like a bumper sticker, like a little sign on the door, but you guys have this massive sign.
Yes. If you know my husband, you know that subtle is not really, synonymous with Scott. We actually were very excited to do this. We actually got this added to our RV right as we were about to take our Memorial Day weekend trip this year, because we had actually become monetized just soon before that. And that was our reward and celebration to ourselves, was to add this to the back of the RV.
So how did the kids feel about this? Because I'm curious. Is it like, Mom?
No, so far it has been very, very good. I think at first it was, wow, that's really big. At first we talked about having it made so that it kind of covered that window that you see, which is the bunkhouse for our kids. And then just the logistics and how that was going to have to be done to actually apply it wasn't logical or going to be easy or even cheap. So we ended up doing what you see there. So far, it has paid dividends for us, and it has actually been a very cool thing for the kids as well, because we do get recognition. We all love seeing someone's comment on a live stream or on one of our videos that says, hey, I saw you driving down I-77 in South Carolina, or I saw you on I-40 just outside of Asheville, North Carolina, or whatever. We have actually been approached at campgrounds where people basically said, we've never met real YouTubers before, and we're just excited to like stop and talk. And a lot of times it's kids being kind of gravitating, going towards our kids because they think that's so cool that they're on YouTube. So I think they feel like rock stars a little bit, and they have not griped about it. But I was a little surprised, especially that my older one wasn't like, man, you're drawing attention, because she's a little bit more reserved and doesn't want that attention drawn. My younger one's kind of wide open and doesn't really care at her age. And maybe it's a personality trait too. So, but so far so good. It's been great. We've had a lot of fun with that.
Okay, Dave. So here's the question. How would your kids take that if you did that to your camper?
I think I would be in trouble, because my kids, it's some days they want to be big time YouTubers because they watch them all the time. And then there's other days they're like, don't put that camera on me. So I've gotten to the point where I actually have to ask permission. Like, if, like right there, I literally asked Kaylin in that photo you see right there, can I take a picture of you and use this for Texas Family Camp? I've gotten to that point now. And I mean, I can just snap a photo whenever I want, but I want my kids to buy into this. So I'm trying to make them feel like they do have a choice. So
yeah,
it's
hard when you do the family, when you do the family YouTube, the family's in it.
Right. Yep. So I usually, you'll see me in most of the stuff because I'm kind of the one that's running everything, but I try to include everybody whenever I can. But if people don't want to be involved, I'm not going to force it, because then this is just going to crash and burn.
Yeah.
So, they are addicted to things like Mr. Beast. I don't know if y'all have ever watched Mr. Beast.
Of course.
So I don't know if I did something wild and crazy, like a big giant sticker on the back of the art. I don't know. Maybe they would like it. Maybe we'll have to have some kind of a contest. One's going to sneak up on me here. Maybe we'll have to have a contest one of these days where, everybody in the RV park has to put their hand on our RV, and the last one to take their hand off wins $1,000 or something.
Ooh, that would be fun. That'd be fun.
That's the kind of crazy stuff they're into. But like I said, I just don't know. I see the big sticker, and I don't think I can compete with Scott in that department.
So I will tell you, it's a lot of fun. I have a very subtle sticker, not the big sticker like McGuire's. It's very subtle on the side, on the back. But we did have one when we had our big class C, and it was pretty significant. It was like, follow us here, and we did get pulled over, and people waved, and they wanted pictures. It was fun. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes it is nice to go camping without having people like stalk you on YouTube. Because
I have a question for Kerri. Have y'all been identified in the wild yet? Like people that knew you?
No. Nobody has approached us and said, hey, we follow you on YouTube and we're so happy to see you in real life.
We've had it happen twice, and we did. First time I was like, what? No. Do I know you? I feel like I know you. They're like, no, but we love watching your videos. And I'm like,
oh, see?
It's such a cool and humbling, but also it's a neat experience, I'm sure, but I don't know how I'd react to that.
It's very confusing the first time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it's interesting because you sit there and you go, you're putting this out there and you think we're talking like we're friends. So we know each other and we're like, oh, it's okay. But then you do find strangers who are like, I know what you had for lunch today. I saw your Instagram page or something like that. And you're like, awkward. But
No, and I think you kind of bring up an important safety thing when you're traveling with your family and your kids, especially when you have a YouTube channel. But this is true no matter what. Just because someone knows your name or knows something about you doesn't mean that they're our friends or acquaintances that we trust. So even when we go to YouTube meetups, as much as we have gotten to know some families very, very well, we've made sure our children understand just because someone knows you doesn't mean that they really know our family. You should not be going in someone's RV without our permission, that kind of thing. But the other piece of it is campgrounds can really be intimate places in terms of you can hear what's happening in the campsite right next to yours. So some stranger could overhear your family, YouTube channel or not, having a conversation about something important or meaningful. Not necessarily that was private, but that you didn't realize anybody was paying attention to. And then they could use that to entice your children to think that they're a familiar face or someone that they should know. And so I think those kind of safety things are an important thing that we just need to mention, that when traveling with your family, it's a critical piece of traveling in the world today.
Absolutely. Dave, do you have any other safety thoughts or safety concerns?
I've encountered a lot of people in Facebook groups where we're dealing with content creation, and a lot of them will say, why are you covering up your license plate? And I always tell them, because their argument is, well, people driving down the street see your license plate. I'm like, people driving down the street aren't watching a video where I'm introducing my family. I said, when there are people that are watching there, potentially bad people could see the videos as like a marketplace for somewhere they want to go to pick up a child. And that's the scariest thing in the world to me. And so I don't want them to have the tools to be able to come find us where we'll be.
Right.
I've worked with the military for a long time, and we practice something called operational security. You don't share where you are, you share where you've been. That way people cannot find you where you are, where you'll be. And so that's something that I've always practiced. And I'm seeing a lot of people don't quite understand that. I'm like, and other license plates show up in our videos, but it's like, that's just a random car in the background. You don't know who that person is.
Right.
But I got to make sure that the people that are in this family, that they can't come to our house and find us or go to a campsite we'll potentially be at next weekend or anything like that.
And that's a good point, because with kids and social media, the older they get, the more they're posting in real time, and I saw this really cool waterfall, here I am. And you're not thinking about how that's impacting the whole setup behind that. I mean, we like to say we're 2 weeks behind just to give me a little space. It's not to say that at campgrounds people don't come up to me and go, oh, I've seen you, or oh, I know Rosie, or that still happens, but it gives us a little bit of a breathing room. We got a comment here from RCRV. It says, my daughter is ready anytime to be on camera. My son needs a little warning to get emotionally prepared. Both kids love being a part of the channel, but have very different personalities. Yeah, understood. Absolutely. So we had another question about, I think we talked about what you guys do when it's a rainy day. Dave, you talked about playing some board games and stuff and doing on iPads and electronics. Kerri, what do you guys do when it's a rainy day?
Sometimes we play in the rain, really, because I think it's important to never feel trapped in your circumstance. Maybe you had some sort of big plan to get out and go to, a festival or go for a hike or do something that ended up not being the opportunity because of the rain. So sometimes going out and playing in the rain if it's safe to do that. But otherwise, the board games, absolutely. We have movies. We travel it with a DVD player and some of our favorite movies that way, so that even if we don't have Wi-Fi for streaming, we have that ability to do that. Reading, both of my children like to read. One of them loves it more than the other does, but they both will enjoy reading. So that's a good thing, just to kind of not always just be constantly engaged with one another, because sometimes that gets old when you are cramped in an RV. If you're trying to stay entertained the whole time, sometimes we just take a nap or, choose your own adventure. Do you want to go eat a snack and sit and watch a show while I go take a nap and you're going to read a book. So really we just sort of have a variety of things available. But that's the other part, is you plan for the unexpected. And I know that sounds so silly. That's not really spontaneous. Well, sometimes unexpected things come up and you need to have that thing in your back pocket that you can pull out and keep everybody settled.
Yeah, absolutely. I think New Horizons, she said, I've been recognized at our state park campground. It was weird at first.
Yeah, that would be weird.
It is a little weird. So Tim from Mo Bang for Your Buck says, what advice would you give someone that is thinking of getting an RV? Ooh, good question.
Watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah.
We rented RVs a couple of times before we purchased. I think renting something that you think is like what you would want for yourself or your family is important, because what you'll find is, okay, I was wrong about certain features that I thought I absolutely had to have, or things that I didn't think were important that really did end up mattering to me. So for us, when we rented RVs, we rented ones that didn't have a separate bunkhouse. And what that meant was that our children were sleeping in the commons areas of the RV. So when bedtime came for them at 8 p.m., we were then relegated to our bedroom. And if we needed a snack or needed to go to the bathroom, we were disrupting what was happening for those kids. So it became important to us pretty quickly that we didn't have to convert everything in the RV for them to sleep every night. And so we knew a bunkhouse was a priority. We rented one time where we didn't have an outdoor kitchen, and another time we did. And we realized how much we really enjoyed using that outdoor kitchen, and it was a convenience. So that was another feature that we knew was a must have. So that's my advice, is rent something if you can beforehand, and travel a couple of different places that have different types of amenities to help you figure out what are must haves for the RV and what things you can live without.
Absolutely. I will admit I'm an RV fail. I bought 3. So I can say this out loud. I did the typical, I think I want one. Let's go just buy one. And I bought one. And I'm like, oh, this is great. And then you're like, I really think I need this. And I'm like, okay, I finally get that. Like, I don't think I really need that much. I'm like, I'm going to do something else. So the renting is something people complain and go, oh, it's so expensive to rent. I'm like, no, it's real expensive to buy, and buy the wrong one. Correct. So I think renting is a really great thing right now. And it does cost some money, and that's totally fine. But I would highly recommend it. And it's the little things that you may not think are important that all of a sudden you get in there and you're like, oh, and like you said, I could put a kid on a couch. What's the big deal? Or, the how you actually really live and work and do things. Or can you really truly drive that huge fifth wheel that you think you want? Or can I take it to all those places I want to get to? So there's questions you don't even think about. Okay, so I've got Angie Hay saying, oh, I was fangirling when I met the McGuires at Mayberry.
Yeah, that was probably one of the first times that anybody said anything like that to me, Angie. And it was a special moment for me. But when you said, I'm totally fangirling right now, to me, I thought, really? Are you talking to me? Because I feel like I just live my everyday life and I'm nothing special, really. I think I do great things in my life, but that doesn't set me apart really from others. So that was a very flattering moment for me, but weird at the same time, in a good way.
In a good way. And Lori says, everyone should label their van. I see vans and rigs all the time, and I don't know if it's my channel, if it's a channel I follow. I'm just saying. And it's true. It's really nice, because when you do, it's a lot of fun. I remember having a really great conversation with Mark and Trish from Keep Your Daydream. And they were talking about, they were, everyone thought they knew what their rig looked like, but until they get out and they start backing it up, and that wonderful conversation with your spouse of backing up a rig when it's not going so well and things are not going exciting, and people know who you are from YouTube, and they're like, what's going on? I thought these guys were nice. I thought they were really sweet. And here they are like yelling at each other on walkie-talkies or cameras saying, go that way, turn that way. It's interesting when you do get a little more recognizable, and you got to be careful because you're always sort of on in the public eye. Yeah.
Speaking of fangirling or fanboying, we were watching some old KYD that one time when they were in Nashville, and like, we're going to hang out with Charlie Grace. And I'm like, oh, what? Oh, she's in our circle.
It's always fun. It's a lot of fun. No, it's really cool. I mean, I really enjoy meeting a lot of people. I really, really enjoy making new friends. It's something I've enjoyed my whole life. And the fact that I can, increase my circle, increase knowing people, increase just sharing my truth. saying, here's my experience. And if this can help you in some way, great. And if I can inspire you and others, that's even better. So it's a lot of fun. But we've got lots of people. I see my lovely moderators are dropping some links. Let's talk about this a little bit. So yes, please check out these channels if you have not checked them out before. We really do appreciate it. I know McGuire's on Tires are monetized. Congratulations. Dave, remind me, how we doing? I know your numbers are up there too. Do we have all your watch hours?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They actually beat us to the chase on that. They were,
so, but I was like, wait a minute, let me think about this. So you guys are, so what kind of videos do you specialize in, Dave? Like if when someone were to look at your channel, what would they see?
So we started out just trying to show people the showers at a campground.
Okay.
Because we went to a campground, we saw the showers, they were great. We went to the next campground and the showers were terrible. Same management company, I guess you could say. And Tanya, my wife, was like, if only there was some place, hi, if only there was some videos that showed us what to expect when we arrived at a campsite. Now, going way back before that, Tanya and I had always contemplated a YouTube channel, but never could get to the nitty gritty of what we should do. And that kind of started the ball rolling. We're like, man, what is out there to show people what to expect when they get to a campground? So I would say that campground reviews is probably our main thing.
Okay.
But I try to do everything camping. And honestly, our two biggest videos, they play off each other in the seasons. How to cool your tent in the summer and how to heat your tent in the winter. So those things have been generating all the hours I need and doing great. So
yeah, that's and people are looking for this thing. Speaking of being specific in the holidays and seasons and things like that, I want to get your take on this for a second. I am going to put I've got some what I call awesome news. So hold on that thought. Hold on. Here we go. So for some positively awesome news, I like to always uplift it because on our other show we talk about something else. We can't use that POOP word here. Have you guys thought about the holidays coming up? And have you ever taken your camper holiday camping? Thoughts?
Our first holiday in our RV was, other than like a weekend, like a 4th of July, was Thanksgiving of last year. We had some friends who don't own an RV, but they traveled to the same area as us, and they came to the campground from where they were staying off site, and we spent Thanksgiving, cooked the whole meal there in the RV, and enjoyed Thanksgiving together. And we'll do that again this year. So we'll travel around Christmas time, but the Christmas Day, Christmas Eve type of stuff will happen here at our brick and mortar home. But yeah, this is the first time we're really traveling around Christmas time, and we are excited to travel at Thanksgiving again.
Yeah. Dave, do you guys travel with your rig?
This season will be our first, as we've got big news coming up.
I'm excited. I'm so excited. And by the way, can I just say thank you for those bathroom reviews? As a van lifer, they mean the world to me.
Good.
Those are big things, big things. I have no idea. Between washers and dryers and bathrooms, it impacts my life so much. It's hard to describe. We've been working really hard on this side. Someone asked us last month, would you do us a favor? We know how much people try to get holiday gifts and try to find things, especially under $50 or under $25, small things like that. And I'm a big fan of experience things, meaning gift cards. When you live in a small place, you don't really want more stuff unless it's a very, very purposeful ideas. That's really what I'm all about. But here's the but part. I did do this out of being nice, and you guys can take a look at this, and I'll drop a link. Of course, all the money goes to the dog shelters and stuff we go to. I made a camper holiday gift list on our Amazon. It is pretty cool. I got to admit, these are small things. These are tiny things, such as like little teeny tiny microfiber towels, multi-tools, solar things, really cool hammock. I love this beanie. I know it sounds such like a dorky thing, but it's awesome. It's got the little light on that's rechargeable. I love those. This tool right here, I cannot tell you enough how much I love this thing. It fits in it's tongs. I can flip a burger. I can open up a bottle of wine. I love this. It's super tiny and it goes everywhere with me. And of course, my new favorite thing, which everyone's laughing about, I literally just got one of these, and everyone laughs at me. And I'm telling you, they think it's a puppet. And no, it's not a puppet. I have one in one hand, so I can put my beverage, like my hot cocoa, or if the mountains aren't blue, however you want to do it, put it in here. It's really, really cool. So yeah, it looks like hello. It's called a Susie mitt. I literally saw a lady with one of these on 2 weeks ago. I was like, where did you get that? And she had two. I was like, I think I can't go double fisted. I can go one fisted. I'm good. But she put a can in here. I'm like, that makes so much sense. Where has this been my whole life? So we'll drop a link. We'll drop a link in to look at some of our. We're gonna put a new blog post up on our Amazon store, and you guys can see what that is. But it's hard to find gifts for people who are nomads, gifts for people who are actually traveling and doing things. Like I said, let's stick to the gift cards, folks. But if you need a physical gift, here are some ideas. There you go.
Solar powered lights.
Oh, can never have enough.
The ones that squish down nice and small.
Yes.
I don't think anybody would ever be resistant to receiving another solar powered light that's small.
No. And if you want to go like bougie, you want to go like really big, like hello, give me a solar powered light plus. This is the one that's a little more on the expensive side. This pushes too, but it charges your phone. Ooh, I like the twofers. If it can do just two things, I am all there. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of these things. Absolutely.
Something else small that is very practical for anybody who travels, especially for somebody who travels a lot and like maybe you change locations frequently, would be just one of those magnetic dry erase, just flat, not a dry erase board, but just the sheet that you can put to either your refrigerator or any other metal surface, so that when you get to that new location, you can make notes of where you are. Not just because our memory fails sometimes, but because if there's an emergency and you're calling for help, you need to be able to say, here's where I am and here's my site number. And man, those site numbers can be confusing to remember when you move frequently. So, and then for my kids, of course, they get to doodle on it too. And that is super fun. So
okay, I hate to say it. I found something and I don't have it with me. I wish I could find it real quick. They literally have dry erase squares that are like 3x3 square. They're like Post-its.
Yes.
And they're fabulous. And they stick to a lot of different surfaces. And I love things that are reusable. But I don't have a lot of, you think in a van, I'd have a lot more magnetic things. Not so much.
No.
But these are super handy.
Super handy. We stick them to our fridge and we use them for those things. Or if we're, and actually two different things. One is if we're sort of planning, we're going on this adventure tomorrow and we're sort of planning what the video is going to be as a YouTuber. That's one thing. But the other piece is just writing down important information, or, there's going to be crafts at the covered shelter at 2 p.m. on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, little things like that. It's good too.
I love this. Karen says, I need those towels. I know they're super handy. Let me tell you what. And Linda says, my cousin's son full times with his family and homeschools. I get them magnetic puzzles, which is a cool idea. I like that. And our friend RCRV says, digital tire pressure gauge, one of the best stocking stuffers I ever got. That's true. Very true. And of course, New Horizons says, if you travel with pets, please have a sign in your RV that alerts everyone in case of emergency. That is exactly right. I have a sign that says canine on board, so people know that there's a dog. But yeah, you got to think about all those things. So always fun. Love this. All right, Dave, I want you to tell me about this lovely lady and give her a little shout out.
That's my wife, Tanya. She loves purple. Can you tell? I mean, we've got purple all around here. Yep, that's Tanya. We've been married for 21 years, and she's awesome. She's an artist. She takes her art on the road with us. She has multiple sclerosis, but she doesn't let that keep her down. Like it struggles with her energy, or it gives her issues with energy. So a lot of times if I go on a hike and I take the girls, she can't do a lot of the bigger hikes. So when we go camping, she'll take her artwork with her. She'll make resin art. She'll do paint pouring, various different things like that out at the state parks or wherever we're out camping. And I'm so happy for her. The artist thing is something that's a little bit newer, and it's really allowed her to express herself. And I'm so happy for that because it makes her super happy.
That's awesome. And she rocks. She's really cool. And I like purple too. I'm just saying. But, and honestly, I was thinking about this. We do the MS Jack and Back from Jack Daniels back to Nashville every year. And we were going to ask you if you didn't mind, and we'll have to ask her too, actually, if she would mind if we have her name on one of the bicyclists, if they can ride in her honor.
That would be awesome. I will bring that up to her. We can chat about that more.
That would be very cool. We love being able to help that out. Angie's like, where can I find the pets on board sites? Oh, great question. Honestly, a lot of this great stuff you can find on Etsy. I like going to Etsy because then you can help other local artists and you can find a lot of really cool stuff like that. I think where I got my vinyl was actually, you can find on Etsy for like $11. Super cheap. Yep. Not too big. Okay. The one thing I didn't talk about was food. Food is so big when you're camping with a family. And as a mom, honestly, I have a very big family. So when I'm cooking. But how do you guys how do you do the food thing? Do you guys have picky eaters, or do you like prepare ahead of time, or how do you do it?
We've done all phases. I've tent camped and done all the cooking, to RV camping and done almost none of the cooking. It just have been at different phases. I got to say the most popular one right now, we finally got the Blackstone, because it seems that everybody in this YouTube community insists you must have a Blackstone. At any rate, I started making quesadillas on it, and the kids just love that. So that's their favorite. We even got back to the house and like, get the Blackstone out and start making quesadillas again.
All right, Kerri, what are your kids' faves?
Well, when we're just doing a weekend trip, I have to be honest and say that I don't get super creative, because we're usually leaving work 4 or 5 o'clock on a Friday and zooming out of town. So I have usually gotten the burgers and the hot dogs and, s'mores things and just the basics, some fruit and some other side items that we can have, and lots of snacks for the weekend. When we're going out on a longer adventure, though, I do a little bit more meal prep and planning. So quesadillas were a big thing for us this summer when we traveled. My kids loved the quesadillas, and it was one of the items that I cooked earlier in our trip. We did a 2-week journey, which was the longest we had ever gone out. And so I wanted to pretty much have everything purchased ahead of time so that I didn't have to stop to grocery shop along the way and eat up any of our time that we had, because that was precious to us. But like, I needed grilled shredded chicken for the quesadilla. So I grilled that and shredded it ahead of time. And then it was in the refrigerator when we were ready for that meal.
Right.
But other things that we'll do too would be the foil pouches, where you do a mixture of maybe like beef tips with different veggies in there, and you just sprinkle a little bit of butter or oil in there and put it in the fire at night. We've tried cooking them on the Blackstone too. It's not quite as effective. I mean, they cook, but we love corn on the cob done over the fire or on the Blackstone. That's been really, really good. I'm trying to think what other creative ideas we've had. That sometimes we'll eat breakfast for supper, which is always that's fun no matter where you are, right? But the one thing we've learned is maybe don't cook the bacon inside. We try to do the bacon outside.
Ooh, good point.
You don't end up with the smoke detector going off because it's smoky in there.
Yeah, that's a good point. And speaking of smoking, Call Me V said, "Did you guys see the new Blackstone with smoker? It's a game changer."
Oh,
now with propane prices going so high, people have been talking about the Blackstone. Like, that's sort of is that a concern of you guys? I mean, I know it's still a little bit of gas, but in general,
we've been at home. We haven't really gone out since mid-September to get and needed new propane. So I haven't seen a major increase yet. Now I'm scared. Should I be scared?
No, but it's coming. So I just be, it's hard to find, quite honestly. There's a lot, especially if you want the small canisters and things like that. But yeah.
Good. I've got the little device that I can refill the little cans. I just need to make a video about it.
There you go. That's exactly right. So New Horizons.
I was going to say, it used to eat me up so much, like I would throw those green cans away in the trash to a dumpster. And I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I throwing this metal can away? This feels wrong. So
it's hard. It's one of those things. So New Horizons said they love their Blackstone grill. They make everything on it, from meatloaf to biscuits. I've had her meatloaf. It's delicious. She can rock a Blackstone. That's awesome. And there's our friends on the move. Hey, good to see you guys. Hope you're having a great night. Thanks for staying up with us. I know it's a little later on that side. And RV says, we used to stress about packing food for the fridge. We've learned, unless you're boondocking, don't stress. There's always a grocery store near if you forget something. I will also say, if you were a small rig, a tiny rig like mine, you can't really prep and take too much. You have to think about stops along the way. When I had the kids with me, what I would do is I would always make like rotini. I make a pasta and some ground beef ahead of time. And I always had whatever the dinner was that night pre-made. So whenever we parked, dinner was done. It was just one thing off the list I didn't have to worry about, didn't have to set anything up, didn't have to go into some big mess. So planning a little bit on that end was a huge, huge help. Absolutely. We made chili and taco meat, freeze. That's good. Yep. On the Move says same thing. We prep our meat, especially. That's a great way of getting ready and doing some stuff. Hey, the She Devil. Good to see you guys. And V says, always don't forget to buy right now because we just changed their time. Check your batteries and your fire alarms in your RV too. Not just your house, but in your RV. If you're not doing both, got to do that. Very cool. Well, guys, we are at that point. I know we've got a couple lives coming on after us. Is there anything? Oh, we got another question. Here we go. One more. Solex, do you teach the children various things that need to be done to prep the RV? Good one.
Absolutely, yes. Our kids have specific jobs before we leave for a trip. They have specific jobs when we arrive at a campsite. They know exactly what to do. I mean, sometimes they need reminding that, you haven't done all the things yet. Please get off the phone, or please don't go in the RV because we're still hooking up water or whatever. But they're very helpful. Everything from putting the X-Chocks in place once we're all ready for that, or we use the Lego blocks, for stabilizing, and our youngest goes around and distributes those evenly, however we need them. And Chloe, our oldest, will help me with water hookup and making sure that we're getting the filter on there just right and getting it connected. So yeah, they have jobs, and some of those jobs are easier than others. Some of them had a little bit more of a learning curve, but the whole family participates because we all get to the point of relaxing and enjoying a little bit more quickly when we get somewhere. And when it's time to do the sad thing where you have to leave, if everyone's contributing, you can wrap it up and get on the road a little quicker too.
Absolutely.
I'm really sad that my kids won't help me with the black tank.
Really? Are you sure about that? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sent, when we were in Mayberry at the Mayberry meetup, I was in the shower and Scott was somewhere talking to someone. I know that's shocking. And he's usually the one that when the gray tank gets full and it starts backing up into the shower, you go, oh, we didn't realize how full it was. And then we yell from the shower and he goes out and he pulls it. So I called Chloe from the shower, Chloe, because he wasn't anywhere to be found. And she came in and I said, I need you to go out. And I described to her exactly where it was. And she had seen it. Scott's shown the girls that, although we don't put the full responsibility for the black and gray tank emptying on them. And she was a rock star. She went out there, she pulled the valve, and I told her, here's how you know when it's done. And then you need to do this with the yep. tube. And she did it. And my shower did not overflow. I was able to finish what I was doing inside, and nice. Everything was good. So they're responsible. And I appreciate that about my kids. They all have jobs, and we all know what our role is, and we get it done. So,
okay. So I have two comments. Number one, Thin Blue Lane. I know they've had some trouble with their rig, and I've been watching your comments. Sorry, it's going really fast in the chat. But we're praying for you. We're hoping your rig gets fixed. I know it's been a really, really big, dramatic moment for you guys. And I hope Nancy's doing well too. But he said the black tank shouldn't be connected to the shower there, Kerri. Just saying.
Did I say it wrong? I meant gray tank. Sorry, guys.
No, it's always fun. We know these things. Cool beans. Well, all right. So like I said, we're almost at that time where we're gonna wrap up here. Is there anything that we need to know coming up from you guys? So like, when do you drop your videos? When do you host your live streams? All that kind of stuff. Go for it, Dave. You're first.
We typically drop our videos at 5 o'clock Central Time on Thursdays. It's currently on a one video at a time cycle, and then do also participate in VidLift on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Central, along with a couple other great makers of videos. And we do have a big thing coming up, and I don't know, should I break the news here?
What do you think, Kerri?
Kerri, should I break the news here?
I'm all for it. I'm excited. I think you should.
All right. We signed a contract today to close on selling the house November 24th and be full-time the day before Thanksgiving.
Woohoo! Congratulations. That's exciting. Good for you. Wow, guys. What do you think of the chat? He's going to be a full-timer. Wow.
You guys have been working towards that for a while now, and I know you're relieved to have that house under contract. So that's awesome. Congratulations.
Yep. Congratulations. That's so cool. Well, that's going to be a big change. So I hate to say, do you guys have to like pack up and downsize, or is this going to be an easy transition? What do you think?
We have been living in our small trailer since March, And then we would come into the house, like we would park out back, and then we would come into the house to work, cook, just hang out, take a shower. And then, of course, when you go camping, you're in the camper. I don't mind using the bathhouse as long as I like a bathhouse in an RV park.
Yep.
Whatever. But we've been just kind of slowly getting rid of stuff. And then we did a 2-month trip over the summer where we were gone from here for over 2.5 months. And the family loved it so much. When we got back, Tanya was hardcore, like, let's get out of here. I want to hit the road. I want to keep doing this. And so it amped up. We had family come all through October, just help us cut through all the clutter, Goodwill, trash. We did get a 10-foot storage unit just for those irreplaceable items. And yeah, we got it to the point, like we've got some furniture and a few things left here. But even the person I talked to today from where we're selling it, they were shocked. They saw bedrooms were completely empty. They're like, "You're ready to go." I'm like, "Yes, we are ready to go."
That is so exciting. Well, congratulations to the whole family. That's going to be, I can't wait to see the videos. It's going to be so cool.
Thanks.
Wow. And everyone's like, yay, congrats, man. This is so cool. All right. So Kerri, you and I are on a different scale. I mean, we have kids and other stuff too. I don't think I'm going to be full-time. I'm like an anytimer, but for like 9 months out of the year. Yeah. And you guys are on the school schedule.
Correct.
It's a very different thing. But I think it's really cool that you guys have taken some extended trips and given your girls that experience.
Absolutely. We've enjoyed that. And what that really does is, even though we don't travel like a full-timer would, or even someone who is retired and just has more time to travel, is that we kind of stockpile video footage. We plan what we're going to do on those trips, and we know ahead of time what the video hopefully will become from that. And so we've always got just sort of a supply of them ready to be edited and created and dropped. So we typically drop videos once a week. The day really does vary depending on our schedule and when we're available to make it happen, based on, when can the editing be done, and us review it as a family and make sure it is what we want it to be. But usually it's around, once a week, pretty much every single week at this point. Every Monday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we do a live stream called McGuire Monday. It's our whole family together, just having fun with everyone in the chat. It's kind of like a variety show. We play games. We, shenanigans. Dave is actually one of our moderators. So we appreciate him and his role with that, and just keeping the chat alive and keeping it moving and helping us and supporting us in that way. We are really focused very much on just showing everyone what our family does. So anytime we're going to go on a trip, we're going to show you what the highlights were from that trip. But the other part is tips and tricks for RVing. So our number one video out there right now, most viewed video, is RV sewer hookup, which doesn't sound so fun when you think about that.
Sounds sexy.
Right. By contrast, we've been ziplining. I mean, why, and that's a pretty popular video for us as well. We actually have 2 of those from 2 different experiences, but people care very much that their sewer goes smoothly. And so, so those are the kind of things that we do. And we're having a great time, and we're excited to travel whenever we can and to share a weekly time with folks out on YouTube and really be able to engage that way.
That's awesome. You guys rock. I'm just so excited to have you on tonight. It's fun when you can have friends on live stream and you can enjoy it, and you got friends in the chat. We're making more friends. I love this. And we're adding to our community, which is really what it's all about.
Exactly right. I want to add one more thing. I meant to say, Scott does the VidLift thing too. So on Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, he's on VidLift with Dave and a couple other folks from other channels reviewing videos. So,
and you guys need to check it out. It is really cool, because if you want to learn more about making good videos and having peers review things, it's a really great opportunity to just, have that extra set of eyes.
Yeah, it's a very cool thing that they've grown as a group there, and it's really neat to see.
I just go there to cut up with my friends. I don't have anybody make videos.
And sometimes I get messages from Dave in the middle of VidLift suggesting things that I need to do for Scott, like bring him a beverage.
Small things.
He was literally, everybody had their drink, and then Scott saw it. We all had our drinks, and he goes like this. And so then I'm like, hey, Kerri, you should help your husband out.
So sure enough, a drink popped up on the table, and a little bit later I get a message from Dave. Thank you.
Surprise. I love that. All right, guys. Well, listen, we're going to take a moment to pay the bills. We just want to say thank you guys for coming. We appreciate it. We're going to end tonight with a thank you to all of our sponsors. For those of you guys who don't know, I always say members and sponsors go hand in hand, but the reality is our channel members were what make all this happen. All of our membership money outside of our operating costs goes directly to all the rescue shelters that we visit along as I'm traveling throughout the country. We pick 13 a year, 13 different places, and the money goes directly towards there. We show you the receipts, we show you the videos, we put your name on thank you cards as members. It's a lot of fun. So thank you guys. Thank you, Dave, for joining. Thank you, Kerri. I'm going to put you guys in the basement for 1 second here. Give me a second. There we go. Woo, big Charlie. A little scary there. Hold that thought. So let's say thank you to our members. And if you want to join, please feel free to join. We love it. It is it's not necessary, but it's always nice. And when you know where the money goes to. So here is a member shout out.